Okay.
But welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're very excited for our third Fillo-nthropy event. And today we'll be making Christmas cookies, Greek Christmas cookies that are a crowd favorite. We'll be making Melomakorana and Kourabiedes. Sorry, still admitting a few people in here. I think people are still slowly joining, but we will get started. So today we are helping the St. Nicholas Uganda Children's Fund. So this organization helps orphans in Uganda to get an education from primary school all the way to secondary and vocational school. They provide tuition, food for lunch, books, backpacks, clothing. So all the money today will be going to backpacks and school supplies.
Great.
So thank you all for joining us, and thank you for helping our cause, and hopefully we can teach some tips and tricks. So we have our chef Elsie Saba here. She works at Williams-Sonoma. If you joined us for our first Fillo-nthropy event, she helped us learn how to make spanakopita. And she's also a new realtor, so a real estate agent. So you can contact her for more information.
What town does she live in?
San Jose, California.
Great.
I'm in Almaden Valley.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Keller Williams.
I'm in Keller Williams, Gateway, San Jose, California.
Okay. Great.
Okay, can you guys see Elsie now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the little time of thanks and also giving, which is the whole baking class over here is about. You know, we are to be thankful for all the blessings we have and to share them with the people who need them in the world too. We're going to start today with Melomakorana. Now, Melomakorana, the name is Greek and it is honey macaroons kind of combined into this delicious cookie that we dip in syrup that has also honey in it. We're going to start with the syrup first because we need to let it boil a little bit, and we need to get it ready. So when our cookies are baked, it's cooled already, because it's always good to have warm and cold contrast of temperatures, either hot cookie with cold syrup or cold cookie with hot syrup, so the absorption can be happening. In the pot here, I put the sugar. I will show, I put sugar, and I put tea. I have 2 sticks, long sticks of cinnamon. I said in the recipe 3 sticks, but normally the sticks are smaller. So I put 2 sticks, and I have some zest of lemon and orange, but I'm going to add a little bit more. And to this, I'm going to add the water and all the ingredients we have sifted. You need to read the amount. There are 2.5 cups of sugar with 1.5 cups of water, 3 sticks of cinnamon. If they are shorter, since they are this extra long ones, I'm using 2 sticks. And I'm going to also have some cloves. I'm going to add. Those are cloves. So you are familiar with them, and they are whole cloves. Actually, cloves are something that is pretty much used a lot in Greek cuisine and Mediterranean in general. And we'll talk about their nutrition facts actually.
Yeah. And what was in the bowl to begin with?
Okay, and this is the bowl right here. Do you see it? So I have sugar, cinnamon, cloves, and some lemon zest and orange zest. And I'm gonna add the water into it, and I'm gonna put it on the stove. Now, see, it's wet. It has water in it. I'm gonna add one more half a cup water in there. And I'm gonna let it boil. And as soon as it boils, I'm gonna squeeze a touch of lemon juice. And the lemon juice, normally we do that so the sugar, as the syrup sits afterwards, it doesn't recrystallize and become clusters of sugar, crystals of sugar in the syrup. So the lemon juice, it prevents that from happening, and it keeps the syrup nice and smooth and very syrupy-like. So I'm gonna put that.
So do we put the lemon juice from the beginning?
No, I normally, what I do is I just put the sugar with the water and the spices, and when it boils, I will add the lemon juice. I let it boil for 3-4 minutes, and then I turn it off, and that's when I add my honey, because honey has it loses its benefits actually if it's heated. So it needs to be put, not to heat it for too long or to heat it too much. Like you can't put it on the stove. It loses its all its benefits. Honey has antibacterial.
I started with the syrup. You know, we have emailed you the recipe, right? You all have the recipe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the ingredients of the syrup, it said 2.5 cups of sugar, 1.5 cups of water, 3 sticks cinnamon, 5 cloves, and orange cut in half, which is this one. I'm gonna put it in because it gives that orangey flavor, which is very winter-like smells and feels. It gives a great taste for the syrup as well. And as soon as the emulsion here starts boiling, that's when I'm gonna add tiny bit of lemon juice. And I was saying previously that the lemon juice, we add it to the syrup after it boils, just to keep the sugar from recrystallizing after the syrup sits for a while. So to keep the syrup from having sugar crystals in it and keep it smooth, we add that lemon juice, tiny bit of lemon juice to keep it nice and syrupy, right? So now I'm gonna cut this lemon. This lemon is from my tree. It's very fresh, and I will juice the juice of the orange into the syrup to add that extra flavor. And I'm gonna put half of that orange inside for even more flavor. And now, as soon as all the sugar melts and the syrup starts boiling, that's when I'm gonna add a tiny bit of lemon juice. And after it boils for three minutes, about 3 to 4 minutes, I'll turn it off, and we will add honey. So I have about 1/4 cup of honey over here. You can do three tablespoons, but I like the honey to be a little bit more on the, more honey kind of than sugar emulsion there. And it gives a great flavor for the melomakorana. Okay, so I'll keep this to boil, and we will start with the dough.
Are there any questions so far? You can feel free to ask them or send them in the chat, and I can.
You said you're leaving it to continue boiling?
It didn't boil yet. When it's gonna boil, I'm gonna let you know, because that's when I'm gonna add the little squeeze of sugar, of lemon juice.
Oh, okay, I see.
Boiling. It's just getting there.
Okay.
So just something to getting something cleared. So did you squeeze the half of the orange inside, or did you just add half of an orange?
Yes. And then I put the whole.
Which
orange.
one of the two?
You need to wash your orange and everything that you're using before, because I put the orange with the peel inside.
Okay, the half of the orange, you just put it inside. You didn't squeeze it.
I did squeeze it. I squeezed,
Oh, you squeezed it and you put the peel.
yeah, I squeezed
Okay.
it, and then, you know, I squeezed it with my hand, so probably there was still some juice in it.
Yes.
And I dropped it into the syrup, let it boil together. It gives an awesome flavor and smell, like very
Okay.
Christmassy.
Okay.
I wish you can smell. We're still not smelling it. It needs few more minutes to start smelling, but it's gonna smell really good. So now
How
it
long?
starts to boil.
How long do you boil it?
Now for about 3 minutes, because the ratio sugar to water is not, the water is not that much water to compared to the sugar. So it's not, it's more on the thicker side of a syrup that we're gonna end up with. So I'm gonna boil it for about 3 to 4 minutes, depending on your stove and your pot, depending on how hot your pot gets. So, you know, normally what I like to do is I will dip the spoon, and when I take it out, after I let it just cool a little bit for my finger to be able to touch the metal, I will pass my finger, and if it makes kind of a streak that it doesn't get, you know, it makes a path kind of on the spoon, it means it's good thickness, which is already is. So I'm gonna just put tiny bit of lemon juice, just like about teaspoon and a half or so. And now I'm gonna turn it. Do you see it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna let it just boil for a couple of more minutes, and then I'm gonna turn the stove off, and that's when I'm gonna add my honey. And I'll put it aside. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. It's already done. I'm gonna add the honey.
How much honey?
And like I said, it's this here, in the recipe it says 3 tablespoons, but I have 1/4 of a cup. I like the flavor of the honey, and it is Melomakorana after all, right? So we pump up the honey, and I mix it until the honey is just completely melted in the hot syrup that I have. I turn the stove off. There is no heat on it. And that is the syrup. Now, we're gonna go to the dough. Now for the dough, my mom used to make the whole dough out of farina, which is semolina. I can show you here.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
No, not very well.
Okay, like this, better?
We don't see it. We see you from far.
Yeah.
You see me, so this camera is not working, I think. Now you see me, right?
How much are you adding? How much are you using?
1 cup.
The
This is
camera is working, but if you guys speak close to it, then we can get to see you in big. If you go to the other camera and speak close to it.
So everybody select speaker view. Don't select gallery view.
We have, yes.
okay. So, do you hear me now? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Just want to make sure. Okay, so growing up, my mom used to make her Melomakorana, all made with farina, which is flour. It's a wheat kind of flour that it's milled in a certain way that they grind the wheat, including the endosperm and the germ of the wheat. So it has a lot more nutrient than a normal flour. And the texture of it, it's more like sandy. It's like the beach, like a little tiny pebbles. It's not talc-like, it's not powdery, it's more sandy. You can
Are you mixing it in a pot?
I have, now I'm gonna have 2 pots to show you how quickly and how easy it can be. This pot is empty. this pot, I measured already the flour, which is 5 cups of flour. And this is unbleached all-purpose flour. And I'm gonna add 1 cup of farina. And this is my version of Melomakorana. And I'm gonna mix them together. And this is the dry ingredient. How difficult was that?
Now, you said you had 1 cup the semolina and 1 cup of farina.
No, it's 1 cup farina. Farina and semolina, they are the same thing.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Thank you.
And the semolina is a tiny bit finer.
Okay.
Both are the same. I have 1 cup farina, which is the thicker version of semolina. It's like sandy texture, and 5 cups of flour in this bowl.
Okay.
Now, in the other bowl, which is empty at the moment, I'm gonna add the liquids. And the liquids are gonna be 3/4 of a cup of orange juice that I have previously squeezed. Okay, 1/3 of a cup of sugar inside. I'm gonna add a cup of olive oil. You can do 2 cups of olive oil if you want, but I feel that the olive oil is too strong of a flavor and it takes away from all the other flavors that I would like to shine in the recipe. So I add 1 cup of olive oil because it's a lot more nutrient than the mazola, and then 1 cup of mazola oil.
We got a question. What brand of farina do you like?
I'll show you. I thought somebody's gonna ask. Okay, this is the brand I use. I buy it from the Mediterranean store. I'll bring it closer. Do you see?
Can you spell it?
It's Sadaf. It's SADAF. The brand is, and it's called farina. Yeah, I buy it from the Mediterranean store. Okay, so we have that, and I have also half a cup of brandy goes in there too.
Half a cup of what?
Brandy.
Brandy.
Brandy?
Oh, brandy. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes it holiday-ish.
Elsie, what kind of brandy?
This is, this is Kourabiedes. It doesn't have to be expensive brand. I have Metaxa, but I'd rather drink it, on the rocks rather than putting it in my Melomakorana. For the recipe, I just use the Kourabiedes. It's a cheaper type, but it has that brandy flavor that it's great for cooking. I use it for cooking all the time. So I will add into this also some those spices, which let me show you. I'll come closer so you can see. I have here cinnamon, 2 teaspoons. I have half a teaspoon of cloves, ground this time. I have the zest of an orange and of a lemon, and I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda. All those, they're gonna go into the liquid. And I will mix those in. And as soon as I get everything mixed, all the liquid like looking one nice consistency, I'm gonna, just put it into the flour mixture that I have here. Just like that, very easy. Make sure you have everything in there. And now you just mix with your hand. And
Do you want to
can you,
close it?
yeah.
It looks like the only camera that works is the one with the volume.
Okay.
That's working good.
Okay. Now I wanted to tell you about bring it, Nicholas, because it's getting there. See how it was very liquidy in the beginning, and now you can see that it's starting to get together as a dough. Now the cloves, I am very, I love cloves. It has so much nutritional value. It is also antibacterial. Actually, they use it at dentistries for to keep the gums from degenerating gum disease and things like that. So it is very good for your system. It keeps your blood sugar level intact, and also it helps your liver function, and it tastes really great too. So this is the dough.
All the brandy.
The brandy, the orange, the cloves. And as you see, the dough already has great flavors that is based within the dough. Now I like to let it sit just a little bit because the semolina is a type of flour that gets, opens up as it sits in a wet environment like this. But for the sake of the video, we're gonna go ahead and start,
How long would you let it sit for?
like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Elsie, how long do you need it?
Until the dough is all, one kind of nice texture, and it's all
Okay, not too much then. Not too much.
Not too much. Just until all the ingredients get together. Okay, now for to make it into more Christmassy, fun kind of Americanized cookie way of baking for the holiday, we're gonna do the Melomakorana today with cut up cookie cutters. So I have a ginger man here, and I have a maple leaf cutter. I have a Christmas tree, and I have also an angel. So, but to make my life easy and clean up easy, what I do is I just put a big piece of saran wrap on my wherever you're gonna roll your dough at. Okay, and a good tip, see how this is moving around? To keep it from moving, I'm gonna put a towel under it. It's heavy on one hand, so there we go. And now I have more sturdy base to work on. Now I'm gonna cut another one, get it ready for my top. So I'll take just a little bowl of dough like that. I'm gonna put it here, and I don't even need that for this one. That's more for, and just pat it until, the right thickness, which is about ½ inch or so. You can make it thinner if you'd like, and I'll show you the next batch why I would make it thinner. And then I think Melomakorana, they go with gingerbread a lot because it has all those same aromas, the clove and the cinnamon, all those gingery aromas in it, and it's brown. Normally gingerbread is brown, and this is going to be brown, so I just go with a theme. and I cut it. And here I have a ginger man, and I'll get in that top stove. I have the, no, not this, yeah. Okay, so, and here, this is my baking pan. You don't even need to brush it with oil or anything. It doesn't even stick. The dough is already rich, and you don't need to add to it anything. So we'll do a couple of those, and then we'll do a couple of maple leaves, which goes with the theme of Thanksgiving and the fall and all that. See how easy it comes? I didn't even spray those with anything. It's very easy. And it's much quicker too. I found it out also, you know, as I was doing them. So yeah, you do all that. You know, you keep going until you are done with your dough. But let me tell you what I also tried, and I thought it's pretty cool. I take the dough and I roll it a little bit thinner. This time, I'm gonna roll it a little bit thinner. And I use my pin to roll it more even and thin. And the reason I'm making it thinner, now I have it at 1/4 of an inch thick almost, like 1/4 of an inch over here, if you can see. See? That's,
Yes.
yeah. So now what I did, let me just get them. I have some walnuts. Normally we put the walnuts on top of the Melomakorana after we bake them and dip them in the syrup, right? And many times we end up with a dish full with walnuts and the Melomakorana we already ate. So I thought, let me integrate this into the cookie without falling out of it. So what I did is took a little bit of this and put it on the dough. And either you make another layer and you cover it, or to make things quick for the class, I'm gonna fold this on top. Like that. And now I'm gonna cut it. And I'm gonna take the same cutters that I've been using. And now I have a stuffed Melomakorana. It needs a little bit more, you know, patience, so you don't lose the. And when you bake it, it all sticks in it and stays in the Melomakorana. Here you go. This is another one. So now you have kind of a cookie that is stuffed with the walnuts. And when you put it in the syrup, it all sticks together and it stays. And you bake those in 350 degrees. And when they are completely baked and cooled, or baked and the syrup is cold, you can dip them in the syrup for 2 minutes, about, depending how syrupy you like it. You know, the longer you keep it in the syrup, the more syrupy it's gonna be. And but always remember, it's either the cookie warm and the syrup cold, or the cookie cold and the syrup warm. So after you're done, you just strain it, put it in a plate, and then you have the ready
Finished product. Oh,
A little syrup. Here, let me tell this.
there. Any questions about this?
Delicious.
Yeah. So this is for the Melomakorana. Now, if you feel like the walnut is not, you know, it's like difficult to cut because of the layer of the walnut, you can actually pass the rolling pin again on it. The walnuts are stuck into the dough. And then when you cut them, it's much easier and it stays intact a lot more. Okay?
Okay.
Melomakoranas. Any questions?
We have a question.
Okay.
Is there a preference to cookie, hot, or syrup?
I normally, because I'm baking and I want to finish everything, I bake them and I have the syrup. I do it before and I have it on my stove. So as soon as I get the cookies out, I just let them 2 minutes until I can really touch them. And then I put them in the syrup and I go on. But I know many people, they, you know, they bake the cookies one day and the next day they do the syrup and they dip them in the syrup. Now, the Melomakorana has this problem, used to be problem. You know, my mom will make them and then, you know, about a week or 10 days after, we will feel that they are drying out, they're not as sweet, they're not as syrupy, they're not as fresh. For that, freezing Melomakorana is a great idea because the syrup from settling all the way to the bottom, when you freeze it, it stays wherever the syrup is as the cookies, they were fresh and cold, completely cold. So when you pull them out of the freezer, it takes not even half an hour to defrost, and they are as if you have baked them, you know, that day. Now, if you don't like to freeze, then I would suggest that you make batches that are dry and not in the syrup, and then when you are about to eat them, heat the syrup, put them in, and then you have, you know, cookie that syrup didn't settle all the way down, and you have the top half is dry and the bottom is too wet. So.
And when do you put the walnuts on?
Just before I want to serve them, when I plate them in a plate, I grate some walnuts or grind some walnuts, and I just put it over. You can add a little bit, a touch of cinnamon to the walnuts too. Yeah, that's what I do. Because if you put the walnuts right after, then you end up with a bowl that is full with the Melomakorana and all the walnuts fall to the bottom of the bowl. So it's good to put the walnuts when you are serving.
Before, on top of the Melomakorana, before you do the sprinkle the walnuts, do you do any raw honey? Like
you could, yes, okay. Yes. Actually, today I made,
so they stick.
I do. I drizzle a little bit of honey so the walnuts can stick. Yes.
And you mentioned that you put them into the freezer, right?
Yes. After they cool, I put them in a Tupperware, something that is freezer friendly. You put between the layers for months, 6 months even.
Okay.
Even half an hour after you take them out, you can eat them, and they are as if you just baked them, you know, that morning.
Okay, and I guess one of the most important things which I missed out because there was a lot of fasaria here. Do you wait for the syrup to be completely cold, and as soon as you take them out of the oven, then you add the syrup?
Yes, but I don't add the syrup. I take the cookies. I wait just 2 minutes for me to be able to carry the cookies out of the baking sheet, the hot baking sheet. And I put them into the pot, and then with a strainer like this.
Oh, I see. So one by one.
Not one by one. I put like 5, 10, whatever.
Yeah, batch, like a batch of them. Yeah.
And then I just pull them out, and I put them into, you know, a place for them to cool completely.
Okay.
And
but they have to be warm, right, in order to soak in the syrup.
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. It's either the cookies warm and the
Yep.
syrup cold, or the syrup warm and the cookies cold.
Oh, it can be the other way around.
Yes. So there should be different temperatures. There should be one cold, one warm. Doesn't matter which is what.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
How many dozen does your recipe make?
This recipe, this amount makes about 55 to 60. But that size, you know, I don't make them too big. I
Right.
make
Okay.
those sizes, kind of a 55 to 60 of those.
Okay. Thank you.
Cutters, depending on the cutter, the size of the cutter.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
want to show how traditionally we make this without the cutters?
Yes. So traditionally, let's do that too. Okay. Traditionally, I will take a little, you know, about a walnut size of the dough. And what I do, I roll it, and because I like walnuts, and you know, I like to stuff them normally. So what I do is I just make a little hollow bump, a kind of a tunnel in there. I put tiny bit of walnuts in there. That's not traditionally, that's my tradition. I'll show you the traditional Greek way. And then I just push it in and close it. Okay? Like that. Flip it and shape it. And then I take a little fork.
Elsie, that's how I grew up. That's how I used to do them with my mother. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like that. And this is how it looks. And then when you put it in the mealie, in the honey, it just coats it, and you can add a little bit more walnut into that where I make the dimples with the fork. So this is my way to keep more walnut in it. But normally the Greek way is you just take that dough and you shape it to that Melomakorana shape without any walnut inside, just like that. Just like that. And again, you do this so you can, you know, have a kind of a valley there to catch the walnuts without them falling apart after you sprinkle them with the walnuts. That's the traditional way.
Okay.
Now temperature, normally it's about 350 to 375, again, depending on the oven, which is giving me a hard time lately, about 15 to 20 minutes. I like my cookies a little bit on the crispier side, so I go for the 20 minutes. But if it was somebody else, or my mom, for instance, she will go for a little bit less cooked. But I like it, about 20 minutes for my way of doing them. But you will see them. They get golden brown, you can smell them. You will see them that they're ready. But not before, you know, 15 minutes, not before that. So 15 up to 20 minutes. 20 minutes is great. 350 to 375, depending if it's convectional or just normal bake. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, yeah, we should
Okay.
move to the next.
So now we'll move to the Kourabiedes. I'll
Yeah.
take a few minutes just to clean up my counter and start get ready for the other ingredients.
Okay. So, okay, perfect. So well,
What is the name of the gal that works at William and Sonoma?
Elsie.
Elsie? Oh, she works there. Oh, Elsie. And is that the one at Valley Fair?
We cannot hear you.
Oh, is that the one at Valley Fair?
Yes, it used to be the one in Valley Fair, but I haven't been working there anymore. I used to go give cooking classes and baking classes at Williams.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
That's my base, but I used to also give classes in Los Gatos and also San Francisco.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so while Elsie is setting up for the Kourabiedes, I wanted to just share a little information about the orphanage, the Uganda Children's Fund. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is their website, the St. Nicholas Uganda Children's Fund. You can find more information here about exactly what they do and donate more and find out more about the children. So there's a quick video. I want to see if I can play it, but I'm not sure if the volume will work.
How many children are there?
I saw, yeah, about 250.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Yeah, so here.
They are adorable.
The children don't live there. It's not an orphanage. The children live with grandparents or on the street or wherever they can. The money goes to pay for them to go to school. And then actually the Georges, the people who started this, do help with other things, helping them find jobs, helping them with food and so on. But that's not the main focus of this. The main focus is helping these children who have to go to school but don't have enough money to do that.
I see. Okay.
Do they have younger children there, like 3, 4 years old?
They
or
don't
just
have,
older ones?
They don't have anybody there. They work with these children when they have to go to school. Now, if they have a younger brother or sister that gets involved because, you know, they're also destitute, then they would try to find some other kind of care for them. But that, again, is not the main focus of their work. They have to try to keep it focused to the main purpose, which is getting kids into school, through school, so that they can earn a living. And if they can't go to school, there's no way that they can ever make any money and support themselves in the future. They end up still just living in the streets, eating garbage, whatever they can get. Some of them move back to the country, but that's not very helpful either because they don't have a way to support themselves there any more than they do in Kampala. By the way, I was listening to KNPR this morning. There is political unrest right now. A man named Billy Wine is trying to lead an opposition party, and he was jailed and beaten along with some of his compatriots. The election is going to be in January, and he's very hopeful that they will be able to peacefully oppose the current leadership. This may or may not affect the children, but you know, it's like any place else in the world. There are problems and, you know, continuing sources of irritation to those people who are trying to run some programs. So we need to continually keep them in prayer.
Okay. What is their school day? I mean, how many hours do they go? And what is a school year for them?
Cleo knows where this, I think the school year starts in January, which is why we're doing this backpack business now, or maybe February.
I see.
But I don't know how many hours a day that they go.
Okay.
Okay,
Are we all ready?
We are ready for our next. Okay, so yeah, you can find out more information here, ugandachildrensfund.org, and also donate there. Okay. Can you guys see Elsie's screen?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Talking about Kourabiedes. And this is a recipe that also I grew up, you know, learning from my mom. And I think she does it a little bit different than other recipes. Every region in Greece, they have their own adapted recipe that they love, and we fell in love with this one, and this is what we always do. So this recipe is not big, so I would suggest for you to double the recipe if you have a crowd to feed. I start with 2 sticks of butter, soft at room temperature, unsalted butter, because I always rather unsalted butter because I think salt is preservative, and normally once I read an article regarding they salt the cream that is not as fresh to keep it from going bad fast and to mask the other flavors that it might develop as it gets older. And normally that's what they make butter, salted butter from. So I'd rather go with the fresh ingredient and add a pinch of salt. We always add a pinch of salt. I think that's for good luck or good, you know, just, you know. So I'd rather have unsalted and add a pinch of salt rather than salted and not know how fresh the butter is. And now I'm gonna start, it's gonna get a little loud, excuse the noise, but it's not gonna take too long. So, okay. So see, the butter is already at room temperature, and it was very soft to kind of break it down. As soon as I break it down, I will add the 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar in there for it to get all incorporated with the butter. But to avoid being showered with that sugar butter kind of thing, I kind of get the sugar in there with the butter so it doesn't fly all over the place and make a big mess. And that is because my mixer is a very old one already, and I changed the paddle, and the paddle I have now, it has rubber on the sides, and it's very it just touches the walls of my bowl, and as soon as it starts rolling, if there is anything that is not wet, kind of like flour or sugar, powdered sugar, it just flies over, and which is not cool. But you know, I have to deal with it. So I put it on 1 because I don't want see. Now into that, I'm gonna add 1 yolk, and if you double the recipe, don't double the yolks. I'll let you know. I'll tell you about it as soon as the mixer is over, so you can hear me better. But if you double all the recipe, the yolk, you can have 1 yolk still. Okay, I'll add the yolk. And now I'm gonna add a little bit, a teaspoon of vanilla, and I always use pure vanilla, no artificial stuff. That's about a teaspoon. I also have some brandy. Again, it's the holidays, so I have 2 tablespoons of brandy. It also goes in there when I make sure that this is creamy and nice. Okay, now I add the brandy. And I also add Anthonero. Anthonero, it means blossom, orange blossom water. I use an extract. They don't sell it here. I bring it back from back home. And normally for my recipe, I add, you know, the extract is very concentrated. So I use the dripper and I use about this much. If you're using the Anthonero from any Mediterranean store that is here, I would put about 2 tablespoons or so. So I'm gonna add that in. And they can't buy it here.
Okay.
So now that is all incorporated, do you see, show the inside? It's all incorporated. What I do is turn this off. I add the flour, which is 2 cups sifted. So sifted, meaning that it's about 1 3/4 of a cup. Because when you sift the flour, you incorporate a lot of air in it. So when you measure, the measurement is more, you know, it has more air into the cup rather than a lot of grains of flour. So I have measured here 2 cups, but I'm gonna use a little less than what I measured because I measured it yesterday and I put a little extra just in case I need and I don't want to go and reach for more flour. But it's you start with 1 3/4 of a cup, and then you add the rest if needed. And all it depends on the weather, the type of flour, you know, how humid it is outdoors, and so on. So start with 1 3/4 of a cup, and then add the rest as needed. So I'm gonna open this. And I'm gonna add the flour, keeping a little bit in the bowl. See, I kept a little bit in the bowl. This is a little bit in the bowl. Okay. And again, because I don't want to be showered with all that flour, I'm gonna mix it in a little bit so it doesn't splatter all over. So
That smells good.
yeah, see? And I will just wipe this on this beater and it's gonna take it in. I close this and I okay. Now what I have here is toasted almonds that I coarsely, now for the Kourabiedes, it's very important not to overbeat. The more you beat it, the flour has gluten in it, and the gluten becomes, it's like a muscle. It gets tough. It just, if you beat it too much, then the cookie is gonna be a little bit tougher. So don't just incorporate the ingredients together, and as soon as they get together, that's all you need to do. Now I have 3/4 of a cup of toasted almonds that I coarsely crushed, and I'm gonna add that in. And again, I'm gonna just push them in so they don't fly out. And after I mix just a little bit, I will know if I need a little extra flour or not. You start seeing that the dough is pulling from the sides. For me, I think it needs a little bit more. So I'm gonna add a tiny bit more, which is, you know, I'm still within, see, 2 cups. Sifted though, sifted flour, 2 cups of sifted flour. So, and I will cover that again so it doesn't splatter on me. Okay. And now, so if you notice, okay, that's it.
Elsie, would it be better if we use the hook for the dough at this point? Or no, it doesn't make a difference?
What?
The hook for the dough.
The hook, no, it doesn't make a difference. The hook is more for dough, bready doughs, not cookie doughs, because it doesn't really mix very well. The dough keeps pulling each other together, so they stay as a ball, kind of. But for Kourabiedes, it's you need something that makes them a little bit better. Now, when it's warm outside, it's gonna be a little bit sticky. So what I do now in the house, we have the heater, and I think it's a little bit too warm, but no big deal. Like I know that, see, when I do this, it's not sticking on my palms. So it's good. I don't need to add more flour. If you add more flour, it's not going to be as good of a cookie. So, but to make it easier to work with, you can just clean the spatula, scrape the ball down, and put it in the fridge for 10-15 minutes. And then it's ready for you to roll out or make it the traditional, you know, Kourabiedes shape that we grew up with. But I'll see what I can do here. Let me just take this out, wash my hands, and show you what's the next. Now, I said that when you double the recipe, you don't need to double the egg yolks. The egg yolk is there. It's only there because if you notice, this recipe it's very rich in butter, and it has no baking powder or any leavening ingredients. We have no baking soda or baking powder in it. So if many recipes, they have them without the egg yolk, but I noticed that when I don't put the egg yolk, many times when you bake the cookie, it's gonna lose its shape, or it's gonna just, because it's rich with butter, nothing there to hold it together in its shape. So the egg yolk, it gives the structure, it holds the cookie together, the Kourabiedes together, so it stays the shape that you gave it to. So it doesn't have anything to do with taste or any other thing other than just keeping the shape together better. And it is enough, more than enough for double the recipe. You don't need more. Okay, great, thank you. Let me clean here the counter a little bit from all that flour so we can show you how okay, any questions until now? Okay. Now I'll take this stack, put it here. I'll put this there. And the same thing, just to keep this clean and not too hard to clean after. I cut and I put it there. And then I cut another one for the top so it doesn't stick. This has, okay, so this is ready for me. And for this, okay. I'm gonna dump the dough so you can see it better. And in the bowl, it's very hard to see what's in there and how it looks. Now I have some dry pieces at the end, at the bottom, which I'm gonna knead it in by hand. And it's easy to knead, no problem. See, this is the bowl. Now for this, I just put it together like this. And you should be smelling this now, let me tell you. Just make sure that all, it's all equally, all the almonds are equally spread in the dough, which it is, but you know, just in case, sometimes some pieces go without being mixed as well as the rest. So this is the dough. Now at this point, if it's summertime, if your hands are warm, if your house is warm, you know, wrap it with the saran wrap and put it in the fridge 10 minutes. If all is good, then you take a piece like that and you put it. I'll put this on the side. I have here a plate. Okay, and now I will cover it with this. And I'll take my pen and I'll roll it. Now for Kourabiedes, it's nice to do stars because stars are white and we always put powdered sugar on top. So stars and angels, oh beautiful. Trees can be like snowy trees. So I don't have a star, but I do have a tree and I do have an angel. I'll show you how. Just push it hard because there is almonds in there. And the almonds can be at the edge of the tree, so you need to cut it. Now, my dough is a little bit warm right now, but if it was colder, it would be easier to push out. Now I push it out, and these cookie cutters, this plastic one, it's not like the maple leaf one, and it's a little bit more tricky with it, but you can use, because here there's those little, you can use little tools like that just to push.
I got some comments that people really like to learn the science behind how every ingredient, what every
together.
ingredient adds. Yes.
Yeah, well, you can ask me. I love that too, and I read a lot, and that's why I love baking, because it is like science, and it's very interesting to me to know how things work together. And this is the tree. I'll show you in a cutter, like in the gingerbread, it's gonna be even easier. And if it's sticking too much, again, put it in the fridge and it's gonna be easier. Get me the cookies. No, here, the baking sheet. The other one. Okay. Now I'll show you also in a, here's the tree. And let's see the gingerbread. It's gonna be a little bit easier because the cookie cutter itself is a little bit better quality.
Can you put anything on the plastic one so it doesn't stick as much?
On the
The
plastic?
plastic cookie cutter?
You can, the other day I took a Q-tip and I dipped it in some olive oil and just, went through it. So it made it much easier. So this is the ginger boy. The ginger boy, see? It's much easier with those type of cookie cutters rather than those kind of cutters. And you can go ahead and do all the dough, and then bake it in pre-heated oven. Always the oven needs to be preheated. 350 degrees, 375 degrees for about 12-15 minutes, and they should be ready. Now let me show you the traditional way of making Kourabiedes. Normally, you do it just like a bowl, and about a walnut-sized bowl, and that's the traditional. Now my mom's way is, I love you, Mom, I miss her. She likes to make them into S-shaped, and we used to love it. We call it S cookies. And since I am a Saba here, they really want me to make it into S cookies. See, there you go. That's how it is, traditionally. And those are Kourabiedes. for Christmas, Americanized to become gingerbreads, angels, trees,
We got a
whichever.
comment about that too. They say, I love the fun shapes for the holidays. My kids will get a kick out of this.
Yes, yes. And not only from the shapes, they're gonna get a kick from the taste too. I have witnesses here,
Oh,
they
yeah.
already tried it. Let me show you the finished ingredients after.
First, after you cook it, you wait to cool off.
Yeah,
the sugar
when
bits.
completely cool, you don't even touch them. You let them cool in the pan, because they are very tender cookies. Those are rich butter cookies that they are very easy to break, especially if you make the shaped cookies, which they tend to be a little bit thinner. They don't have that massive texture to hold them. So let them cool completely. And after they cool, I dust them with a little bit powdered sugar, and voila, they're ready to eat. Now, in Greek recipes, normally, they don't have, most of them, I read many recipes, most of the recipes, they have about half a cup of sugar for the amount of flour I have. And, but I feel that they tend not to be sweet enough unless we put mounds of powdered sugar, which makes a mess in the house, especially if you have little kids. So I'd rather add a little bit more sugar in the cookie. So I make it with 3/4 of a cup of sugar inside, and then a very light dust of sugar on top, which is not gonna make as much mess, especially if you have little kids. And that's all. That's all I have. I wish you can try them. I'm sure you're baking them with me, so you will try them as soon as you have a batch ready. And actually those, they are much better 2 to 3 days after they're baked. I think the flavor get mingled together, the almonds and the anthonero, the blossom, orange blossom, and all the toasted nuts that are in there. I think they, become even better 2-3 days after. And here we have the tree, the angel, and the Melomakorana with the gingerbread.
I'm a big fan of the eyes.
Clothes.
Elsie, I didn't catch something. How do you mount them with sugar? You mentioned something, but I didn't get it.
I dust them with where is it? I'll show you. Let me just
powdered sugar. Powdered sugar, right?
Powdered sugar, but I don't put as much as normally Greek. They mound their Kourabiedes with a really mountain of powdered sugar on it, and when you taste it, you have sugar everywhere, and like that. Not because I don't like sugar, I love sugar. I don't like the mess. So what I did in the recipe, and that's how, this recipe is just perfect. I put a cup of sugar in the recipe, which gives already the sweetness needed. So I don't have to put mounds of sugar. See, I'm carrying this, I'm not making a mess. It's, not like when we have mounds of sugar on it, and it's sweet enough as is. So only after the cookies cool completely, I take my, where do I have it? Oh, sifter, like that, a tea sifter, or, I just put the powdered sugar and I just go around like this. And when they are cool completely, you put them in a Tupperware, you put in between, and very tiny. And you can actually do it without the sugar. They are sweet if you don't want the extra powder. The powdered sugar, I put it just for the festive look. So sometimes when I make them, I just store them without the sugar. And when I need to eat, or I have guests and I need to, present them, I powdered them with a little bit of sugar, and then I plate them. And that's all. You don't need mounds of powdered sugar on top.
Okay. I have another question. I have two questions. So, the almonds, how do you roast them?
Well, I roast them normally in my oven, and I put it in a just a dry, pan. Spread them evenly, that they're not too thick, because I don't want the top to roast, the bottom to roast, and the middle not to roast. So I put thin layer of evenly spread in the pan. I put the oven on 350, and I put them in, and every it's preheated oven again. Every about 3-4 minutes, when I start smelling, as soon as I start smelling the almond, I go and I with a wooden spoon, I just mix them around and I watch them. Now, after about 10 minutes or so, sometimes it's less, so watch it, because they between toasted and too toasted, it's a very thin line. So I break one, like every time I check them, I take one and I break it. As soon as I see that it's starting to become golden, not brown, golden, just creamy, kind of like a Nestle color. Then I just turn off the oven and I pull them out. If I went a little bit farther, then when I take them out, I immediately dump them in a cold pan, because they will continue roasting on their own from their own heat that was trapped in the oils of the almond. So you will be hearing crackling happening while they are sitting in the pan, even if the pan was cold, because the almonds themselves are continuing to roast. So just as soon as they start turning color from the inside, when you break the almond, that's when you need to take it out.
And you said that's about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes, not.
Okay. And one last question: what kind of pans do you use?
Those are the ones that they are golden kind of. They are supposed to be non-stick, but with the Melomakorana or even the Kourabiedes, because they are rich, the Melomakorana has a lot of oil and the Kourabiedes has a lot of butter. Even if you use the normal pans like these, they will also work, and they want stick at all. You don't need to brush with oil or flour the way we do cakes normally. You don't have to. Just you make them and you dump them in. Very easy to clean and very easy to take out when they cook.
We got another question here. It says, how long do they stay in the oven?
The Melomakorana, the Kourabiedes, they about, again, depending on the oven, bake or convection bake, about 15 minutes to 20 minutes max. 350 to 375, again, depending if it's bake or convection bake. But as soon as you see them are turning golden, then that's the time to take them out again, because the cookies, they are rich in butter and oil. They continue to cook as they cool. So in the cookie cutter ones, because they are normally thinner, less thick than the normal shape, if you see, they bake much quicker. So don't mix cookie cutters with normal shape in the same baking sheet, because they're gonna be cooking in different ratios. So make sure that you have the cookie cutter ones in sheets separate, and the traditional look of Kourabie in a separate sheet, because they will take a little longer since they are thicker. And as soon as I start seeing like golden edges turning gold, I just take them out.
Another question, which store do you get the golden pans from?
Oh, I saw them actually at Costco. Those I have from ages ago when I was at Williams-Sonoma. I got tons of kitchen supplies. Actually, that was the reason I started working there, because I love to cook and I love to bake. And I used to get 40% discount, which, you know, I didn't pay the ridiculous prices that they asked for. But I saw those at Costco, you know, 2-3 days ago when I went shopping for my Thanksgiving. So they sell them there too.
They're Cathalon, right?
No, those are not Cathalon. Those are, I think, I can't remember what they were called. Maybe at, does it say? No. Mine is from Williams-Sonoma. Maybe they were Cathalon. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. It was a long time ago. And I didn't stop to check what the brand is at Costco. Check the brand at Costco. Yeah.
They're actually called Williams-Sonoma Gold Touch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The ones at Costco, they are called?
No,
No,
well,
these ones.
yeah.
Oh, the Williams-Sonoma ones.
Yeah.
So they're corrugated, non-stick, and I think they have some kind of copper thing to them.
Yeah. They're, I like them and I don't like them in the same time. I like them because they are, I like my pots and pans to be really clean and shiny. So when I use the other ones, the traditional ones, I really, you know, use extra effort to clean them and shine them and bring them back to their original state in a way. With those, I don't need to work that hard. They look good all the time. And they are dishwasher safe, where the others are not. The others, they get darker if you put them in the dishwasher. Aluminum changes its look. It loses its brightness when you put it in the dishwasher. Those are dishwasher safe. But the thing is, when you put them in the dishwasher and they dry in the dishwasher, there is a rim. Let me show you. I'll get one that I am not using. Sorry, but I want to show you. There is this rim at the bottom here, and when you keep it in the dishwasher, there is water traps inside. That's the bottom part. Water traps inside, and it rusts, and I don't like that. That's what I don't like about it. So this side is good, but the bottom, you know, the rust, you cannot get rid of. And that's what happens when I put them in the dishwasher, also, although they said it's a dishwasher safe. So I don't put them in the dishwasher anymore. But they are easy to clean.
Okay. I don't think we have any more questions.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that you have a successful baking experience with your children. Enjoy the holidays, enjoy Thanksgiving, and may God's blessings on everybody. And yeah.
Thank you all for joining. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a recording, so we'll be posting the recording in case you.
And by the way, I give 10% back for my clients, you know, for any humanitarian causes that the client chooses. If you go with me in a real estate, I'm starting my career right now. I just got my license, and I hope that you encourage me as well.
Thank you.
Right,
Thanks, Elsie.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful, happy season.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elsie. That was good.
God bless. Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Bye. Please your ad at the Philly website or St. Peter and Paul Mission Ministry. Also, any donations are welcome, either for this cause or anything else that Philly and our mission ministry supports. So thank you again for supporting us, and enjoy the holidays. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.